Today, let's talk about the only ancient Egyptian goddess with the head of a pelican. This is part 63 of the Gods and Goddesses of Ancient Egypt, and we are talking about Henet. Now, I stumbled upon this goddess when I was looking into depictions of different types of birds in ancient Egypt, and they did have a lot. But I had never really heard of a pelican being depicted in ancient Egyptian art, and they actually apparently had their own goddess who is mentioned in the early pyramid texts. Henet's name literally means pelican in ancient Egyptian, and pelicans have been depicted in livestock scenes on the walls of tomb, typically during the Old Kingdom. Henet was seen as a protective symbol against snakes, and there is a suggestion that Henet scoops dangerous elements out of the water that are in the form of fish, based on some imagery in a text called The Pelican Falling into the Nile. This is similar to the drag nets and bird nets that are used for trapping sinners in the underworld. One odd thing about her, though, is that she might actually not be considered a goddess, but simply a personification of a physical pelican. But one of the more crucial indications that she is considered a goddess is that she is given the title of Mother of the King in the pyramid texts. In ancient Egyptian, that term was exclusively used for goddesses. In other funerary papyri, Henet can predict safe travel for the dead person in the underworld. And the open beak of a pelican is often associated with the ability of a deceased person to actually leave a burial chamber and go and see the sun. This might be an analogy between the long beak of a pelican and the actual tomb shaft that the deceased person would have to walk through to go and see the sun. Now, it doesn't appear that she has ever actually been physically depicted in ancient Egyptian art, only written about. This image is actually just an image of pelicans. It does not technically mention Henet at all. And this image essentially is a modern artist's rendition of what she may have looked like, which I think this also adds to the mystery of if she's actually considered a goddess or just considered a representation of all pelicans. Also, a very interesting thing about her is that her name and her hieroglyphs don't use a hieroglyph for a pelican, which actually doesn't exist, but uses the hieroglyph of a goose as a determinative. Next time, we're not just going to actually cover one god or goddess, but talk about the original group of 8 deities.